What's up, guys? This is Shane Sams from fliplifestyle.com, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how to quickly and easily start your very own webinar. There's a lot of information out there about webinars, and people really overcomplicate this process. It's actually a lot easier than you think to get one going. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is show you a sample webinar that Jocelyn and I have ran in the past, and we're going to show you one from her elementary website, elementarylibrarian.com. And a good webinar page is going to have a few components that you pretty much have to actually run your presentation. All right. The first thing we're going to do is we are going to put a title or topic, and that is just going to let people know that they're in the right place. You know, this webinar was specifically about how to host a book fair in a school library. So Jocelyn made sure to come in and put that she was hosting this and that it was about book fairs. You're also going to have a place where you're going to show video. This is where you're actually giving the presentation during the webinar. Then you're going to need some form of button where people can buy something. You know, why are we having a webinar? First, we're giving away free content. We're helping our audience. But we are also promoting something that we're trying to sell because we are an online business. And the goal, of course, is to make money. So we're going to have some kind of button where people can buy a special or a sale or some kind of product that you're having during the webinar. Jocelyn and I always include special instructions, like we may be having a contest or we might want people to share something during the webinar. We always put that right here at the very top of the chat box. And then we are going to have a chat room, so we have some way for people to come in and talk during the webinar to each other or to ask us questions. And this is also a great spot to share links to products and things like that that you might be selling. And at the very bottom, we have some final instructions, and we always include a second sale link because sometimes people will scroll down and get really interested in the chat box, and they won't really scroll back up that much until later. Maybe they'll come watch the replay or something. So we always want to have some kind of buy button down here at the bottom. Now, the question is, how did Jocelyn and I create this page? You could create this page if you wanted to on anything, any page in your website, just like a post or a page. But we actually choose to use a tool called Leadpages. Leadpages is specifically designed for creating sales pages or product pages, but that's what a webinar really is. It's just kind of like a live sales page. So we actually use Leadpages to create all of our webinars. When you log into Leadpages, they have a bunch of templates for different kind of sales pages. And as you can see here, they've already got blank templates set up for webinars. So we go in and we use the webinar page. It takes probably about 10 to 15 minutes to actually set up the webinar because everything is pretty much done for you in Leadpages. We always use the G+ Hangout page because it's going to have all of the tools that we need to host our webinar. It's very simple. It's very laid out in a minimalist kind of way, and it's very easy for people to use. So this is the one that we always select. But you can see there's a lot of other different webinar templates if you prefer one better than this one, but this is just the one that we use. In Leadpages, when you load up, it's going to have kind of a framework already built, and all you have to do is change the elements to host your webinar. You can see at the top, they've already got a title in, so I'm just going to delete this, and I'll put title and date, because you always want to let people know they're in the right place. In Leadpages, the second component of their webinar page is where the video is going to play. So how do we get this video here? That's the question. We use Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is kind of like a live stream of YouTube, and you can actually set that up and you can share it or embed the code from the YouTube video just like you would any YouTube video, like if you're sharing it on Facebook or another blog post, and it will actually live stream your webinar through Google Hangouts right to that webinar page. All you have to do is put in the link to the video. So let's set up a Google Hangouts live. When you log into your Google account, you're going to go to Google+. You're going to click Home, and you're going to go to Hangouts, okay? Now, Hangouts are actually set up to just have like kind of a conference call where you can have 4 or 5 people on the same air, but you can actually set it up where pretty much an unlimited amount of people can watch the video, and you do that by clicking on Hangouts on Air. That means you're going to be on air as a live broadcast. And you can see there's a couple of people actually broadcasting live right now. We are going to start our very own Hangouts on Air over here on the right. And when this pop-up comes up, you're just going to give it a title. I'm going to use title, and I'll put webinar, since this is about webinars. Then we're going to have a description. This is about hosting a webinar. And we're going to click Starts Later because we're going to schedule our webinar. Let's say that I'm going to do a webinar for some strange reason on Christmas Day. And then I'm going to do it at 7 p.m., and it's going to be a 1-hour webinar. Okay. And we want this to be broadcast publicly. That way, anyone who logs into the link or anyone who goes to YouTube will be able to watch this either there or they can click over to our webinar page. Another good thing to do is to put the actual link of your webinar page. Like this one is hosted at elementarylibrarian.com/webinar. And you do that through Leadpages. That way, if someone shows up on YouTube or finds it through search, they may be watching and you can say, chat with us at, and you can put this link. And that way they know there's an actual webinar page where your like sales buttons are and the chat room is. All right, and we're going to click share. And now our webinar is set to broadcast on December 25th on Christmas. All right, now how do we get this video into our webinar page? All right, once you've set up the Hangouts on Air, you look over here to the right, and you're going to see a word that says links. We're going to click that, and we're going to have a couple different options here, okay? This link is just an actual page in YouTube where you can go and see this link. Let's look at that real quick. So you can even share this link to people if you don't want to share it to a webinar page. You can host the webinar right through YouTube. And if you go there before the actual webinar starts, you can see that it says, please stand by. And it's 30 days, 10 hours, 2 minutes, 52 seconds until the webinar. So people can see it hasn't started yet. But we don't want people to go here. We want them to come back to our webinar page because it's going to have buy now buttons, our chat, and we're going to have more control over the environment. So what we want to do is we want to actually embed this video into the lead page by copying the video embed link. Control C. And then I'm going to go back over to Leadpages, click on this box, and all I do is paste in the YouTube link and hit done. And now this video is going to play the Google Hangouts on Air that I set up when it's live. And we're going to look at this real quick. I want to show you what this page looks like before we go any farther so you can see that timer on your actual webinar page. I'm going to hit save. We'll call it webinar. All right, once we have it saved, we can hit publish, and publish doesn't mean anything. It just lets you get to where the link is. And let's view this page. And now you can see, whoa, there's my big face. But you can see now that it's got the video, and if it were to hit play, if someone came here early, it would give you that timer, okay? So basically, that's going to set it up where the video is now showing up on the lead page, not just over in YouTube where we were before. That way we can advertise to come to our webinar page instead of our actual YouTube page. All right, let's go back and set up everything else in the webinar page now. There are lots of different tools inside this webinar page that you can use. There are social sharing buttons. We usually do not leave those on. We try to remove everything but the button you can buy, instructions, and how to talk to us. So we actually close those down. We do different ways. We market our sharing in a different way. We really don't want people engaging much outside of social media. We want them to stay on the webinar, be engaged, and to buy our product. That's a choice that's up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and turn all of these off. All you do is hit edit. Whoops, not edit. You come over here and you hit the little eyeball. Turn off Google+. Turn off Tweet. And see how it moves the button up? We always want this button to be above the phone. There's a webinar replay. Some people think you should show replays. Some people don't. We have in the past, and we have not in the past. So you can make your webinar an event that they can only watch live, or you can show a replay. We are going to turn that off. And now we have our button. And what we would do here is we would click on this and put, sale today on our product or something like that. And then we would have a link here. This is the link to either a sales page for a product, or it can even be a direct link from your shopping cart into PayPal or something like that to take a payment. So we would actually put the link here and make this to where people could buy a product from us during the process. You could even use this as an email collector. You could set it up with maybe where they go to a page that's set up to collect emails. Whatever you're selling in this webinar, whether you're trying to get emails or you're trying to actually deliver a product for money, you can put that here. I always put open link in a new window. That way, if somebody does click on the button, the webinar is still playing. You don't want them to leave the page and then, freak out and not be able to get back to it. All right. Here we put special instructions. That way, if we have anything to tell the people that we don't want, we want everyone to log in to know. People log in at different times. So you want to let them have, their instructions right here, like we're having a sale. Or share to enter a contest. I spelled that really bad. Enter a contest. All right. And finally, we have a chat box. Now, you don't have to have a chat box. Some people don't, because this thing does get distracting for your users. Some people will stay down here and they'll listen to the webinar, but they might not see what you're presenting. They might scroll down too far and they lose that button right there to buy a product. But we have always used the chat room for the very simple reason it allows our users to be involved in the presentation. We can ask them questions. If we don't know an answer, we can ask someone and allow them to show their expertise. And it also lets us to go in and share links to products or reminders that we're having a sale. And it gives us another way to engage with our audience. Some people love to just sit in the chat room during the webinar and talk. Some people love to stay on the top and actually watch the webinar. So it gives you another way that you can kind of be everywhere in the event and have a direct line of communication with your people. So we highly recommend that you use a chat box down here in the bottom. And the service that we use for this is called Chatroll. And you can find that at chatroll.com. And this is a paid service. There is a free version, but it's very limited. It only gives you, it only lets you have so many people in. Now, if you're only going to have like 25 to 50 people at your actual webinar, maybe this is one of the first ones you've done, then that's fine. You can use the free service. You can even use one of the lower tiered paid services. But what we did, we actually bought a lower tiered service when we got into our webinar, and like 500 people showed up. And we hit the limit, and we wanted all those people to be able to get in and see what we were saying and interact with us during the chat. So if you're thinking you're going to have a very big webinar, you might want to go ahead and pay for it. Always plan for more people to show up than you actually think. All right, let's show you how to use Chatroll now. All right, once you log into Chatroll, you're going to be on your screen where you can create a new event. So we're going to hit create a new live event. And all I'm going to do here is I'm going to say, you know, what the title of the event is. I usually try to name them the same thing that I named the webinar. So we're just going to put webinar, example. Okay. And then we're going to hit continue. All right, and that actually just created our event. And we can go in and change some of these settings. We can change the titles, and we can put some extra information in there if we want to. But all we have to do now is be able to get this into the lead page, and we're going to do it in the exact same way that we did the YouTube video or the Google Hangout video. All right, the way that we always do this is we go to HTML website to get this code, because we want to get the proper code to put into the chat box. And as you see here, you're going to get the same kind of code that we got from the Google Hangout. We're going to copy this code, and then I'm going to click back over to Leadpages. I'm going to click the Chatroll box, and I'm just going to paste that in. Now, you're going to get a warning here that says the embed code is not using an HTTPS secure protocol. Don't freak out when that says that, because I did the first time I saw it. All you have to do is go up here into this link from the source and put an S. Ta-da! The warning goes away. You're also going to have to change the width and height of the code, because the box that you just created is not going to fit properly into the lead page. It's going to be very thin and very hard to read. So what we always do is I change it to 700 by 600. And that's just going to make a bigger chat box for your people to communicate in, and it's going to look a little bit better inside of your lead page. All right, we're going to hit done, and then we're going to click save. And now let's take a quick look at this lead page, because there's one more thing I want you to change about that Chatroll. We're going to hit publish, and then we're going to hit view page. All right, there's my big ugly mug again. Here we go. There's our timer. It's still working. Now, if you'll notice, the chat box is not centered. You're going to have to go in and manually do that inside of that embed code, but it's really easy to do. Let me show you how to do that. All right, we're going to click back to the webinar page, close that out, open up the... All right, when we open the code back up, the first thing I want you to do is delete everything after the /iframe, because there is an advertisement at the bottom of your Chatroll thing. And that's going to free up where we just have the code. And all you have to do to center the code is to put center in your little brackets. And then at the end of it, you're going to hit /center. That's it. Not complicated. Just put that, surround it. And you'll see that it puts in double the code here. You're going to have to delete this because it tries to automatically give you the extra part of the center. Just delete that when you do it. And you need center at the beginning and /center at the end. And when you hit done now, hit save. And now let's go look at that page again. Click view page. And boom. We now have a nice good sized centered chat box. All right. All right. The last thing that we want to do when we're setting up our webinar is we want to go back to our lead page, and we can put final instructions down here. Final instructions. This can be another sales pitch for a product that you're selling, or it can just be something else you want people to see. Like another thing you can do, you can put down here at the bottom, like log into chat with the Facebook icon, or you can say turn off the clicking notifications by hitting the speaker. You can give people any kind of instructions you want about the Chatroll, or you can even put a link if you want to a product or service. Hit link, put fliplifestyle.com or whatever. Hit done. And you can just put links and things like that down there. You can also use a lead box if you want to. You can open this opt-in bar. You can create an opt-in. You can also use an opt-in box if you want to have that, but we usually don't use that because most of the people that we get to come here, they're already a lead, and we really just want to funnel them through whatever we're selling in that product. You can use that if you want, doesn't matter. And that is it. We're going to hit save. We're going to hit publish. You can take this link. This is what you can email to people if you want to. We can hit view page. Let's look at our final product here. There it is. On the date, this will play live, and you'll be broadcasting from your computer. You've got your button to buy a product. You've got instructions. You've got a place for people to log in and chat. And you've got final instructions and a link. And that is it. You are ready to host a webinar. If I was going to advertise this webinar, all I would do is share that link. I could go to my Facebook page. And once I get to my Facebook page, I could just copy that link in. And I can say, we are hosting a webinar on December 25th. And then I can send emails and I can do all that, and it will have the link there. And there it is. And they can click the link and they can come and watch your webinar. Now, if you don't want to use this link where it says like Sam's Digital, that's the name of our company. That would say your company .leadpages.net/whatever. You can mask that domain name. Like if you look at Jocelyn's webinar page, it says elementarylibrarian.com/webinar. And all we did was we set up a quick redirect to Leadpages from this link. And Leadpages actually gives you a plugin where you can change that name. So let me show you how to do that real quick. We're going to go back to the webinar page, and once you set this up for the first time, you're going to hit publish, and you're going to be given an option that says WordPress. And when you do that, you can download a special plugin from Leadpages, and you're going to install that onto your WordPress website. Now, if you don't have a website, you can always just share this link and you can still host a webinar. This is just for people who already have a blog or a website. So if you have a blog or website, you just go into your dashboard and you install that. After you log in and you've installed the Leadpages plugin, you're going to see a new icon over here in your dashboard, and it's going to say Leadpages. So you click Leadpages, you go into that. And you can click Add New. And you can see the lead page to display. It says webinar, and then we have the custom URL. This can be sample webinar from video, or just put sample webinar. All right. And now when I publish this, what's going to happen is a redirect is going to be set up where anytime I can share this link, and now it says my name, it's got my branding in it, and it says, you know, where the webinar page is. I can go up here and I can type that in, fliplifestyle.com/sample webinar, and it will actually go to the webinar page now. And that is it. Now all you have to do is share this and get people to come to your webinar, and then you can do your presentation and go. Google Hangouts lets you share your screen. Like when you actually run the webinar, you're going to be able to share your screen. You're going to be able to talk to people. If you do a PowerPoint, you're going to be able to show that. You can even record a YouTube video and just play it straight through the Google Hangouts on air. So that's how you're going to actually present your webinar. But setting up your webinar is very easy. It's just copy and paste and following the template in Leadpages. And when you do that, you will be ready to host your very first online presentation.